Welcome to Food Stories, the show that gives you the story behind some of the world's most popular and beloved food. We'll also serve you with simple recipes, fun facts, and tips in cooking and preparing these food favorites. So what are you waiting for? Let's delve deeper as we tickle your brains and taste buds. This is Food Stories. Cheesecake. A cheesecake is a sweet dish that is made up of layers of food. The main and the thickest layer, of course, is made up of a mixture of cheese, eggs, and sugar. The bottom layer, on the other hand, is made up of a crust that usually consists of ground-up crackers or sponge cake. Sometimes the cake will be topped with flavorful toppings such as fruits, pumpkin, lime, nuts, or even chocolate. The first cheesecakes were made during the ancient Greek times and were primarily used for religious ceremonies. These early form of cheesecakes were called placenta because they kinda resemble it in a way. In 1872, the invention of commercially produced cream cheese was developed in America by William Lawrence from New York. This new type of cream cheese was easier to form into a cake because it was thicker. Another contributing factor to the invention of the cheesecake was the advancement of refrigeration technology. When combined together, forming the cheese into a cake shape and letting it cool in the fridge became the popular way of making cheesecake, which is pretty much the same way we make it today. Here's an easy no-bake cheesecake recipe that you can try at home. You will need 1½ cups graham cracker crumbs, 1/3 cup packed brown sugar, 1/2 teaspoon ground cinnamon, 1/3 cup butter melted, 2 packages of cream cheese, 2 teaspoons lemon juice, 1 pint of heavy whipping cream, 1/3 cup white sugar. Start by taking a bowl and combining the graham crackers, brown sugar, and cinnamon. Add in some melted butter, then mix well. This will serve as your crust. Press the mixture in a small springform pan and let it chill until the crust is firm. Next, beat together the cream cheese and lemon juice until everything is soft. Add in the whipping cream and beat until thick. Next, add in the sugar and continue to beat the mixture until it has a firm and thick consistency. Pour the cheese mixture into the crust, then let it chill overnight. Once done, remove the side of the springform pan and serve. Fun fact: according to New York Magazine, Eileen's Special Cheesecake from Cleveland, Ohio, is the top-ranked most favorite cheesecake in America. Sausage rolls. A sausage roll is a savory pastry snack that consists of puff pastry sheets rolled around a sausage or meat core. It is usually glazed with egg or milk before it is baked. The sausage roll can trace its origins from the 18th century Britain. Nobody is exactly sure who started it. But one thing's for sure: the sausage roll takes heavy influence from ancient Roman and Greek cooking, where stuffing bread and pastries with meat was a popular cooking method. And while it was the French who pioneered the craft of pastry making, it was the British who claimed the idea of combining it with sausage. And while the French see the pastry as a fine dining art craft, the British sausage roll was designed with the common folk in mind. It was quick and easy to prepare and required little to no cooking experience. It was also very portable and can be taken on virtually anywhere. It soon caught on and became a popular lunch and snack item. Today, the sausage roll continues to be a favorite lunch and snack menu in areas like the UK, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, and is steadily becoming a fast food favorite in other parts of the world as well. You don't have to eat out to enjoy sausage rolls. You can make some at home by following this simple recipe. You will need 6 sausages, 2 puff pastry sheets, 1 egg beaten, first, take your sausages and slightly boil them until half cooked. When done, take the sausage and let it drain, then set aside. Take your puff pastry sheet, then measure and cut into small squares, just enough to wrap around the sausage. Next, take a sausage and proceed to roll the pastry sheet tightly around it. Repeat the same process with the remaining sausages. Next, take your egg and lightly brush each sausage roll with it. Bake in a preheated oven at 200 degrees Celsius or 392 degrees Fahrenheit for 25 minutes or until the pastry is golden brown. Bagel. The bagel is a ring-shaped bread product made from wheat and yeast. It is made by first boiling the bagel prior to baking. This unique cooking method results in a softer, chewy, and doughy interior of the bread. It is said that the first bagel was created in the shape of a stirrup to commemorate the Polish king's victory over the Ottoman Turks at the Battle of Vienna in 1683. On the contrary, the bagel was actually invented much earlier in 1610 in Krakow, Poland, where it was given as a gift to women during childbirth. The term bagel comes from the German term Bugel, which means ring. The bagel became popular with the Polish Jewish community during the 16th and 17th century. Eventually, Polish Jewish migration in the early 19th century would bring the bagel recipe to other parts of Europe and eventually the Americas. You too can make your own bagels at home. You will need 2.5 cups bread flour, 1/2 teaspoon instant dry yeast, 1/2 tablespoon sugar, 1 teaspoon salt, 1 cup lukewarm water. Start by combining the flour, sugar, and salt in a bowl. Mix lightly, then add in the yeast and water. Knead the batter by hand. Take out the dough and knead firmly on a flat surface until it is no longer lumpy and powdery. Add flour as necessary to keep the dough from sticking. Shape the dough into a round mass, then poke a hole through the middle. Cover with plastic wrap, then let it rise for 15 minutes. Next, pour water in a pan, just enough to submerge the bagels and bring it to a boil. Boil the bagels for about 15 seconds each side, then drain. Place in an oven preheated to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius, then bake for 15 minutes. Fun fact: in 2008, Canadian astronaut Gregory Shamitov became the first person to bring bagels into space. Shamitov brought 18 bagels with him into space. Shortbread. A shortbread is a type of biscuit that is usually made with 1 part white sugar, 2 parts butter, and 3 parts flour, all measured in relation to weight 1, 2, and 3 because of the ingredient ratio and the number of ingredients. Shortbreads are also called 1, 2, 3 breads. The shortbread traces its origins to the medieval biscuit bread, which was a twice-baked bread roll dusted with sugar and spices. Much of the original shortbreads originated during the 12th century. In the 16th century, during the time of Mary, Queen of Scots, the shortbread was developed into triangular-shaped biscuits that were flavored with caraway seed. It was also during this time that shortbreads came into fashion as a type of luxury and celebratory foods served during holidays such as Christmas and New Year's Eve. Here's a traditional 1, 2, 3 Scottish shortbread recipe for you to try at home. For the ingredients, follow the 1, 2, 3 ratio. That's 1 part sugar, 2 parts butter, and 3 parts flour. Or 1/2 cup powdered sugar, 1 cup or 2 sticks of butter softened, 2 cups all-purpose flour. First, preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 degrees Celsius. Next, take a large mixing bowl and cream together the butter and the sugar. After that, add in the flour and mix until you form a soft dough. Mix the dough until the consistency is enough to shape it into a ball. Next, dust a flat surface with extra flour. And take the dough and roll it into a 1/4 inch or 0.6 centimeter thick sheet. You can use a knife or cookie cutter to make round shapes with the dough. Place the dough cutouts in the oven and bake for 16 to 18 minutes or until the shortbread is pale golden brown in color. Fun fact: most of the classic Girl Scout cookies that are sold for fundraising and charity are actually just a variation of the traditional shortbread. Tofu. Tofu is a soft food made by coagulated or curdled soy milk. It is usually a popular ingredient in East and Southeast Asian cuisine. Tofu has a very light and subtle flavor. As such, it can be paired or added to both sweet and savory dishes. Tofu was first made 2,000 years ago, during the Han Dynasty in China. According to Chinese legend, it was a prince named Liu An who invented it, while looking for a substance for immortality. After that, the practice of preparing and eating tofu spread to other nearby Asian neighbors like Korea and Japan. Today, tofu continues to be a popular staple food in East Asian countries and is making its way to fusion East meets West dishes in many parts of the world. Here's how you can make tofu at home. You will need 8 cups soy milk, 1 cup water, 3 tablespoons vinegar. Start by heating the soy milk at low heat about 80 degrees Celsius or 176 degrees Fahrenheit and stir it occasionally. Once you get your soy heated, remove it from the heat. Next, take a bowl and mix together the water and some vinegar. Combine half of the vinegar solution with the soy milk and stir it slowly. After a few minutes, add the remaining vinegar solution and keep stirring lightly until the soy coagulates. Take a colander and place a thin cloth on top of it. Drain the liquid from the tofu. Then use the cloth to squeeze out any remaining liquid. When done, take the cloth and form the curds together. Tie the cloth tightly and place a clean object on top of the cloth to act as weight. Let it sit for an hour or two until your tofu is firm and ready to cook. Fun fact: tofu is a great source of vitamins and minerals that our body needs on a daily basis. In fact, it contains the 8 essential amino acids that our body needs. Tofu is also a good source of iron, calcium, zinc, manganese, selenium, and phosphorus, copper, and vitamin B1. Nougat. The nougat is a confectionery dish that is made using sugar, honey, roasted nuts, and whipped egg whites. The nougat has a very chewy consistency and is oftentimes used as an ingredient in chocolate and candy bars. The word nougat comes from the Occitan Italian term pan nougat. The nougat has a sort of mythical place in the history of Italy. The wedding of Bianca Maria Visconti and Francesco Sforza was what started the Sforza family as the ruling elite of Milan. According to the myth, this was also the first time that nougat was created to be served to the guests at the wedding. There are 3 basic types of nougat. First is the white nougat or torrone, which is the most common nougat. Its main ingredient is beaten egg whites, which give its color. The second is brown nougat or nougatine. This type of nougat does not contain egg whites and is very popular in France. And the third is Viennese or German nougat, a type of nougat that is made from chocolate and nuts, much like the nutty chocolate desserts that we have today. Check out the simple nougat recipe that you can try at home. You will need 1 egg white, 1 cup icing sugar, 1 teaspoon corn syrup, 2 tablespoons honey, 2 tablespoons water, 1/2 cup pecan nuts lightly toasted, chopped, 1/4 cup pistachio nuts, lightly toasted, chopped. First, you need to whisk the egg white in a bowl. Use a whisk or a hand mixer to hasten the process. Next, combine the honey, syrup, and sugar in a small saucepan. Stir them at low heat for about 3 to 5 minutes. When that's done, let it cool a bit. Then whisk it in with the egg whites until the mixture becomes glossy and stiff. Add in the nuts and mix well. Take a shallow baking tray and spread the mixture over it, making sure that it's even and flat. Let the nougat cool by placing it in the fridge. Then cut it into squares, then serve. Tip: if you want to make your nougat extra special, try coating it with a layer of melted chocolate just before you place it in the fridge to cool. They'll taste really good and will be very much like store-bought nougat chocolate bars. Strudel. Strudel is a layered pastry with a sweet filling. The strudel can trace its origins in the 16th century Austria, but only recently gained popularity during the 18th century through the Habsburg Empire of Austria. The term comes from the German word Strudel, which originally means whirlpool. The most famous type of strudel is the apple-filled strudel, which is considered as a national dish of Austria and even the official pastry of Texas. Traditionally, strudels were made with a very thin and elastic dough that comes from a mixture of gluten, water, and oil. It was processed with a linen tea towel and was made as thin as possible. Today, strudels are made with puff pastry and are filled with several different flavorings. They are pretty much enjoyed throughout Europe and other parts of the world as dessert or a sweet snack. Check out the simple strudel recipe at home. You will need 4 apples peeled and sliced thinly, 1 cup brown sugar, 1 egg, 1/2 cup milk, 1 puff pastry sheet, 1 tablespoon cinnamon. First, preheat your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 204 degrees Celsius. Next, take a large mixing bowl and combine the apples with the sugar and cinnamon, then mix well. Next, take out your puff pastry sheet and expand it to double its packaging size by using a rolling pin. Take out the rolled pastry sheet and place it over a baking tray lined with parchment paper. Now, take your apple filling and spread it over one side of the pastry sheet. Then, fold the pastry lengthwise over the apple filling. Seal the edges by wetting your fingers and pinching the edges of the pastry. Now, combine the milk and egg, then use a brush to coat the pastry. Make a few diagonal cuts, then place the pastry at the oven to bake at 30 to 35 minutes or until golden brown. Fun fact: the world record for the longest strudel is 2,038 feet and 10 inches, or 621 meters. That's all the time we have for this episode. But join us again next time as we give you more tips, more trivia, and more stories behind the food we all love. Be sure to check in next time for another serving of Food Stories.